Ladies and gentlemen, you are now entering the Decent Christian Talk podcast. Enjoy.
Decent Christian Talk, episode 105. What's up, everybody? I'm Gabe Jones.
I am Josiah Jones.
And we are not together. We're sadly not in the 13 Palm Trees studios today because of everything going on in the world, the quarantine, and we are socially distancing. We are recording remotely in an undisclosed location separately from each other.
So if it sounds weird, that's because it's weird. Yeah.
Anyway, we hope you guys are okay. We hope you guys are staying healthy, and we really wanted to put out a show. It's been about a month since our last show, and we wanted to do a show for you guys, and it just so happens that we have a great guest for you today. The band is called Tigerwine, and they are the newest signing to Tooth and Nail Records. They've got a great new album coming out very soon called Nothing Is For You. It comes out May 1st, 2020, and it's going to be one of the top releases of the year, I predict, and I'm excited to have those guys on. They are a great addition to Tooth and Nail Records, and the band reminds me a lot of some of the stuff that I grew up with, a lot of Further Seems Forever, Dead Poetic, a little bit of that. It's something that I'm looking forward to, and I'm excited to have them on the show today.
I listened to the two singles that they put out, Blackwater and Scarecrow, for their upcoming album, and they are great. So I am definitely excited for this release.
Yeah, and you're right. Those are very good singles. It's a really good preview for the album, and I'm excited. They had a album that came out. We talked about it a little bit. It came out 3 years ago. Actually, April 14th.
Almost exactly.
Yeah, April 14th, 2017. It was called Die With Your Tongue Out. It was a great album, but this new album takes them to the next level, I think. And, I'm excited about it, and I'm excited to bring the interview to you guys. Before we head into that, we're going to be talking about we need to talk about our Patreon page. And if I stutter and do all this stuff today, as you probably will hear in the interview, I stuttered a lot. I'm just not used to talking to people right now because I've been quarantined for 36 days now, so I'm sorry for that.
You were never great at it to begin with.
That's true. So Decent Christian... that's not right. Patreon.com/Decent Christian Talk. For as low as $1 a month, you can support our podcast. I know it's a rough time right now. A lot of people are out of work. And so I'm a little afraid to put that out there, but unfortunately we still have bills to pay, and we're still here for you guys, and we just appreciate your guys' support, and you can do that for as low as $1 a month on patreon.com. For $5 a month, you can get our bonus episode. I might make this bonus episode available for the $1 a month subscribers just because of this whole thing. What do you say?
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it. So I mentioned Further Seems Forever a little bit earlier. We're going to be diving into a record called How to Start a Fire. That's going to be our flashback of the week, and it's one of my favorite albums from that decade. I think it's without a shadow of a doubt my favorite Further Seems Forever album, and I'm excited to talk about it. Came out my junior year of high school, I believe, and it really, it's very important to me. What do you think?
I love Further Seems Forever. I definitely remember the sound off that album.
Yeah.
Really jumped out from... That's one of my favorites that I still listen to.
I'm excited to talk about it. And you can get that. We're going to make that available for the $1 a month subscribers this month. So jump on there, patreon.com/Decent Christian Talk. we're also going to be giving our picks for our current music of the week. Some things that we've been listening to currently, and we always have fun with that.
There's so many options.
There definitely
so many options.
A lot of, I've had a little bit more time on my hands because of all this, so I've gotten to listen to a lot. So yeah, I'm going to be giving my picks for that. Josiah will probably bend the rules and pick something from 3 years ago.
Nope.
All right.
It's too much that has been released recently for me to break the rules.
I'm excited to hear about that. You can hear it too for as low as $1 a month, patreon.com/Decent Christian Talk. We're going to be getting into the interview now. It's with Tigerwine, the newest signing on Tooth and Nail Records. They have a brand new album coming out May 1st. You can pre-order it now at toothandnailrecords.merchnow.com. It's called Nothing Is For You. You can get the CD for $8 right now. You can also get the vinyl for $20. Pretty good deal. So, these bands need support during this time too. Especially a band that's putting out an album right now. They don't get to tour it. It's a unique situation, but hey, they need your support too, so check that out. Again, you can find that through pre-order at toothandnailrecords.merchnow.com. So let's head into that interview right now. Without further ado, here is our interview with Tigerwine.
All right, hit that horn, babe. Let's dance.
So I'm here with some guys from the band Tigerwine. Why don't you guys introduce yourselves?
I'm Shane.
And I am Steve.
And what do you guys do in the band?
Forgot the important part.
Great.
No, what we do in the band?
I am Steve, and I play guitar.
All right.
I'm Shane. I play drums.
Awesome. So we have the talent of the band here. That's good.
Steve, at least I'm holding on for dear life back there. So.
All right. So Tigerwine is not an older band. It's kind of a newer band. So why don't you guys talk about how you guys met and kind of how you guys became a band?
Yeah, so Shane is actually the most recent addition to the band. Originally, myself and Hayden and Sean were a three-piece band, and I played drums back then. And drums is not my first instrument. I was just kind of found myself there and was like, well, might as well do my best here and see if we can't push this band. But never super passionate about drums and all that, so Shane ended up taking that over for me eventually so that I could, we added a second guitarist being me, and then it became a four-piece. But we, the three of us, we played in a band prior to Tigerwine together that, and that was kind of how we all became friends and met, was through that previous band. And when that band fizzled out, we decided to just keep writing music and keep playing together and kind of shifted our sound a little bit from that last band was more of like a lighter indie rock kind of band. And then we, after we did a handful of tours and recorded an EP and stuff, we just felt like it was time to add a second guitar to the mix. So then we had met Shane on tour. Luckily, he and I actually did a whole tour together where he filled in for another band and we shared my drum kit. And we kind of just became best buds at that part, and he lives clear across the country, so
yeah. And then I got married, and my wife and I moved out here, so Steve and I literally lived together, so
quarantined together.
Yeah. There's actually a funny story to that whole thing. I think the day that I met the Tigerwine dudes was I was actually filling in for another band, not the band that Steve mentioned. And they actually thought that I didn't like them at first.
That is true.
Because I used to wear like a Rockies hat because my grandfather's initials are CR. And Was it you?
Yeah.
I think Steve like walked up to me and was like, "Oh, like you like the Rockies," and I was just like, "No," like. So,
I was like, sorry I asked, man.
It's a drummer thing, I think.
I guess, yeah.
So you guys kind of described a little bit about some of the adjectives of the band, like influences that you guys, maybe some bands that you grew up listening to that have influenced the way that you sound.
I feel like Hayden kind of like describes this one really, really well, where he kind of like refers to our band as like a love letter to all of our favorite bands, which I think is really, really cool. But like all four of us have like pretty, I shouldn't say pretty different, because it's all like there's a lot of mutuals, but there's a lot of variation in what all four of us listen to. But for me, like I grew up listening to like a lot of like new metal, like the old like Slipknot, Linkin Park, like just like death metal type of things, and then like was playing like orchestral music. Like I didn't like start off playing drums, so kind of like a mixture of both of those worlds, between like kind of like heavier, like kind of more like groove oriented music, and like more like orchestral percussion kind of influence what I bring to the band, I feel like.
And then I like when I played drums in the band, when I first learned how to play drums, it was a lot of death metal. Like basically, like as a teenager, I just wanted to play double kick as fast as I possibly could, and like hurt my parents' ears and hearts, I'm sure. But so kind of my like the influences that I have are a lot of like really cool. Like I love really rhythmic bands and really like odd time signatures and bands that have an affinity for doing that. And that's kind of how guitar and drums are kind of blended in my mind to a degree now. So I love hearing like really rhythmic guitarists that do really interesting accents that work with drummers in that way. So like a lot of bands, like I always cite the band Converge as one of my biggest influences, although our band sounds nothing like that, but that's probably my biggest influence musically in terms of how I approach music and how I think about it.
So your first album came out almost three years ago. This week is actually the 3-year anniversary of Die With Your Tongue Out, and that was released on Blood and Ink Records. Kind of looking back at that, I think I got that date right. But
I think that's right. I think it would be April of 2017.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's hard to believe.
Is today 3 years?
I think it's April 17th, and today's April 14th. So
there you
this
go.
week.
Wow.
Holy crap!
Yeah.
Know our band better than we do.
The internet is a wonderful tool. So yeah, looking back at that record, one of the great things about music is you can go back and look at music and kind of see where you were musically, kind of see where you were personally. Looking back at that three years ago now, it's been. What are some takeaways that you have? What are some things that you've learned about you as a band and you personally since then?
I feel like it's interesting for me, like, because I literally joined right before we recorded. Steve actually was doing a sneaky thing where he was like sending me the drum like parts, like as like a hey like here's some of our new stuff. What do you think about it? And I was just like, oh, this is pretty cool. And then probably like a couple months before we actually went to the studio, I got like a group message from all of them that was just like, hey, what if you just join our band? So like for like going it like from that record to this record, I feel like I personally kind of like felt more, not that I felt uncomfortable with Die With Your Tongue Out, with like the drum stuff, but like this one feels like a little bit more of like, I mean, there's a lot more ownership of the drum parts for me on the record.
Yeah, I could agree with that. Like I think Shane was in the same boat where he kind of got to be halfway himself on some of the drum parts, because I, kind of provided framework for him on that last record. And then also we kind of hadn't necessarily written guitars for a 2-guitar band. It was kind of like I was coming up with some ideas here and showing them to Hayden, and then I'd hop on the drums and we'd be like, oh, okay, maybe we could envision like a guitar lead there or something like that. So I feel like by the time it came around to recording, I didn't have full bearings of what kind of stuff I necessarily wanted to do on the record, because half of my mind was on the drums and half was on the guitar stuff. So I think what Shane said, this most recent one, like musically, the lesson that was learned is kind of getting to fully dive into all of our individual instruments and really learn how to write as a band and let everybody kind of throw everything at the table or throw against the wall and see what sticks.
Yeah. I definitely like a lot to like what Steve just ended with too. Like I feel like with Die With Your Tongue Out, we allowed things to be weird at times, like, but it was a little bit more controlled. And I feel like on this record, it was a lot more like in this writing process, it was a lot more. It was like even more so was like, okay, like we're gonna throw literally everything at the wall and see what sticks. But like not like in like a. I feel like it doesn't do like a chaotic, like doesn't make sense type of thing. No, like it's. We worked well with experimenting on this record, I feel like. You're
probably, with another album under your belt, you're probably feeling more confident with what you guys can do as a band as well, I would think.
For sure, yeah.
So personally speaking, what are some things that has changed from album 1 to album 2? I know you guys talked about some of the musical differences, but what about personally that made this second album a little bit different than the first one?
We've I think I had just gotten engaged about a month before we went into the studio for Die With Your Tongue Out. Our other two members they'd been married for a little while already. And then had you gotten engaged yet?
Mm-mm. Krista and I just started dating at that point.
Wow. Yeah, so Shane ended up getting engaged as well, and now Sean and Hayden, them and their wives have each had little baby girls in the last year. So I think that's been kind of wild that we've all, it's not, we're not necessarily the like bachelor goobers we were when we started the band.
Now we're just married goobers.
Yeah, now we're married goobers. But that's been kind of a big change too, and realizing that like if we want to be in a band, we owe it to four women who are supporting this band, also these babies now, to make sure that we're trying our best and trying our hardest and making it worthwhile if we're going to be doing it.
Yeah, it's like I like honestly didn't really hit me until just now, like how much the like representing all the people in our camp, as far as like significant others and everything, like kind of pushed and challenged the creative process, and like in the realm of like this can suck 0%. Like we have to push ourselves as much as we can.
Sounds like it's more of a group effort now, more all hands on deck this time, which is a lot of good can come from that for sure.
Yeah.
So Nothing Is For You, the new album, it comes out May 1st. I know you guys are so excited about that. What are some things that you're specifically excited about on this album that you guys have been working on?
Where to start? I think like Steve and I, we were actually like we've been talking about like with all the quarantine stuff, like it's I think the whole process has just been like I think has been the most rewarding thing I've ever done musically. Down to like like Jeremy who recorded it, like that whole process, like every single part of it has just been like has been like borderline euphoric for me. Like it's been so like unbelievable.
We've gotten to a big part of like the theme that ended up happening with this record is we wanted to work with people we really cared about and work with people that were dear to us and close to us, and kind of put our money on our own people.
Mm-hmm.
And so with it coming out, like I'm excited to see, like I'm excited for people to see the artwork, which is made by a friend of mine and Jeremy, who recorded it, which we previously did not know him, and now he's become one of our best friends, like collectively. So I'm excited for people to see kind of what this group of ours has been able to put out, and then also like musically, it's a bit of it's not a complete departure from our old stuff, but I do feel like it's a more clearly defined idea of what we've always wanted to be, and there's elements on the record that some instruments and some atmospheres and stuff that we haven't really been able to share with people before that are on this record. So I'm excited for people to see that different side of our band.
So the two singles that you guys released with this album were so far Blackwater and Scarecrow. Specifically those songs, what are some things that went into those songs that you're most excited about? That's probably not an easy question, but
like what we're most excited for about those two songs in particular?
Yeah, I mean, if it's just looking forward to playing them live or anything.
Well, we've been playing 3 songs off the new record for like the last year.
Nice.
So like, which it's cool because like now like, a year later, like playing those songs still feels incredible. I'd say like I don't know, man. That's a loaded question.
Yeah, it's tough. I do the playing live thing. I'm definitely excited for when we get the few people that have heard the song and they know it live and they get excited and we get to see them singing or whatever. That's always a really like humbling and really cool experience. So I'm glad for people to be able to hopefully connect with the songs live in a new way because they've been able to connect with it, hearing the actualized like recorded version of it. That's always a super important and like mind-blowing thing for me. So I'm glad for that to happen with these two.
I'm excited for Scarecrow to get easy live.
Yeah,
Scarecrow kicks my butt live. Like, and we happen to play it last, which is fantastic. But I definitely find there's always a moment whenever we play, like going into Scarecrow, I'm just like, it's a little pep talk during like the little like intro that Steve's playing, or for me to just not just screw the pooch immediately. But, but no, yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. Like I'm super, super excited to like, for just the overall like reaction. Not even necessarily like in the like, I hope this like, makes us billions of dollars types of thing, but like, just like hearing like the reaction of it, of like, I feel like all of us like pushed each other really, really, really hard creatively. So I'm just kind of like excited to see that materialize more and more. I mean, like the like throughout the release, and like as like I'm honestly like kind of excited to hear how the record ages. Like in 2 years, what's the record gonna feel like? All that fun stuff.
So you guys just signed with Tooth and Nail, which is a pretty big deal. First of all, how did this signing happen? Like, what are some things that led to that? And what was that experience like with you guys?
So we were previously on another label, and we had gotten we had been in contact with Tooth and Nail a little bit. They had actually hit us up to ask us what our situation was, kind of thing. We couldn't really tell them anything because we had, it was probably like a year after we put out Die With Your Tongue Out. And so we had no real good answer for him. We owed the other label another record still. And so we just told them, yeah, well, like we'll see what happens in the future. Right now, we can't do anything about it. But we ended up parting ways with that label, and then came time to find another home for the record. So Tooth and Nail was one of the first choices. So I went ahead and shot him an email, and immediately the conversation kind of started to happen. So. And then one thing led to another, and here we are on your podcast.
Well, what does that signing mean to you guys? Did you guys grow up listening to any Tooth and Nail bands? Is it going to be? I don't know. Does it make you more nervous? Does it make you more comfortable? What does it mean to you?
For me, Tooth and Nail was like a huge part of my childhood and growing up. I think when I was in kindergarten, I got an MXPX cassette tape from my cousin, and it was like they had a cover album called On the Cover, and that was my favorite. I also didn't understand what covers were at the time, so when I was in high school and I realized that none of those songs were by MXPX, it blew my brain. But like and from then, like I grew up listening to MXPX and Slick Shoes, and then later like As Cities Burn and Emery when I was in high school and stuff, and that was just huge deal to me. And so to get to see like our record put out on that label is it's surreal, but it's also like they've been so good to us, and we've also we worked so hard on it that I'm just excited to see it have a place where people care about it, and to see that they believe in it is awesome. And so for that reason, knowing they believe in it with the track record they have, I'm not nervous. I don't feel like there's anything to live up to or anything. And just honestly, kind of back to the whole betting on our people thing. They've been so kind to us, and so it hasn't felt like a business relationship at all, which I super value. So for that reason, it kind of just feels like we're sitting in a really good place with it.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting. Going in with the signing, I didn't grow up listening to Tooth and Nail bands. There was one or two. Actually, I don't even know if the band I liked to work with, but going into it, just kind of became a fan of Tooth and Nail because of how well they've been treating us. It's over the moon. I'm painfully excited about it.
So something to be, I guess you said that this does not make you nervous, but something that might be making you nervous is the whole coronavirus thing. And it's probably a little bit nerve-wracking not to be able to do any kind of shows or anything around the time of an album release. How are you guys approaching this? Or do you guys have any fun ideas that you might be doing something online? I mean, have you guys talked about? I'm sure you've talked about it, but what have been going through your head when it comes to that?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely an interesting thing. We've game planned a couple fun little things. I don't know if we'd be able to do a full set thing, the whole set stream, just because playing a little bit more safe, with kids in the picture and all that fun stuff. But we've talked about doing just playthrough-y types of things, just kind of just making fun things and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, kind of what we're gonna have to do is, and a lot of bands are in a similar situation too, is just get as creative as you can and utilize the internet to its fullest extent for what it can do in terms of reaching people with your music. And we want to roll out some merch stuff and get some creative video ideas going, and just try our best to keep in the conversation. Also, keep supporting other bands and other. I think that's half of it too, is making sure that you do your best to let other people's stuff be heard and let other people have the spotlight sometimes, because that if your friends do well, you do well. So a lot of that's kind of That's a terrible answer. I feel like that was all over the place.
No, it makes sense. I think there's you and I actually, we like talked about this the other day as well. Like, it's kind of a cool thing where, I shouldn't say cool thing because obviously the circumstances aren't ideal, but everyone is on computers, laptops, like phones right now. So it's like, as far as like the thought of like releasing, like, or thinking about like releasing content and all that fun stuff, like, this kind of is like a really, really cool time for bands, especially in the realm of like being able to kind of open up the front door a little bit, where it's like you can actually look and like see what the band is about a little bit more, if that makes sense.
People are a little bit more attentive to it right now.
Yeah. Like, it kind of gives you the ability to be a little bit more than just a band name right now, which I don't know. I feel like that's kind of a cool thing, a little bit of like a silver lining to all the crazy stuff going on right now.
Definitely. And, you know, people need that community, even if it's a virtual thing right now. I mean, people need to feel like they're not alone, and music is a way to bring people together, and I'm excited about this band for sure with this new release. And if maybe somebody that just finally checked out Tigerwine for the first time, or maybe they just saw your name because of the Tooth and Nail signing, if you could give them a reason to listen to this album, just one reason, what would it be?
One reason.
I would say that I mean, in my own opinion, I feel that it's pretty fresh. I think there's something in there for everyone, without being like, I don't think we wrote like a multi-genre album where, you know, each song is completely different from the other. Like, I don't think we pandered to anything like that, but I definitely think whether you're into super heavy music, there's something for you to pull from it. Whether you're into electronic music, there's something for you to pull from it. And so I think what I would say is the reason would be, I would almost bet you can find something in there that will speak to you, or at least that I hope will speak to you for listening to the record.
The first thing that comes to my brain with that whole thought is like, and might be biased, but I feel like there's just a lot of ear candy in the record. Like the guy that we recorded with, Jeremy, is a mad scientist. So like he let us be like, he let us have a lot of fun on the record, but also like he contributed to a lot of the fun on the record. And like there's still like we recorded the record at like
a year ago.
Yeah, a little over a year ago now. Like, and I'm still finding things like little like fun little things that he did in the mix, like panning things and all that fun stuff. Like, I'm still finding cool little things all over the mix and stuff like that. So, and I've listened to the record a lot. So it's like, I don't know. I just feel like it's fun, and I feel like it takes you somewhere.
Definitely. I have to say it's one of my favorite releases from this year so far, and I'm so excited for people to hear this, and I appreciate you guys giving me the time to talk and share your hearts and about this album, and it means a lot to me, and I wish you guys the best of luck.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, it was an absolute blast talking.
Thank you so much, man.
That was our interview with Tigerwine. I'd like to thank those guys for, well, coming out of quarantine, figuratively, for a little bit and talking with us about their brand new album. I'm excited for them. It's a unique situation for them because a lot of times you hear the term sophomore slump with newer bands because a lot of times a band will break through with their first album, and then a lot of people will expect great things from their second album, and a lot of times that does happen. Sometimes their second album just doesn't hit as well. But this is a unique situation because their second album is on Tooth and Nail Records. This is their debut on Tooth and Nail, so it's going to be hard not to top their first album. And I can tell you, as someone that's gotten to listen to it already, it's amazing. I think it's better than the first album. I think it's more mature. I think the sound has got more layers to it. It's more complex. I'm excited for you guys to hear it again. It comes out on May 1st. It's called Nothing Is For You. You can pick that up on pre-order right now, toothandnailrecords.merchnow.com. Support these bands. They need your help during this time. It's very important that we not only stream it, but support them financially through other means, and that's physical stuff. Do what you can. I know they'd appreciate it for sure.
And like you said, this is a unique situation because they are releasing an album while no one can go to their shows. So it's kind of hard to promote, but as they brought up in the interview, there's nobody out doing anything. They're all home, sitting online. So possibly this could change, not necessarily the entire music industry, but this is going to change the way that they might attack the promotion of it. So you have nothing better to do. Go check this band out and take maybe $20 from your stimulus check and support one of your favorite bands or local business or something that is definitely struggling right now.
Yeah, that's a good challenge. It's a good suggestion. Support your local music. Support bands that you love. They need it right now, almost more than anybody, because they're not getting any money.
It's how they make their living.
And I know that they greatly appreciate it, especially these bands that, man, they're with Tigerwine. They're brand new albums coming out on a brand new label. It's I'm sure it's a little nerve-wracking for them, but I'm excited for you guys to hear it. May 1st. It's called Nothing Is For You. It's gonna be one of the top releases of the year, and yeah. You got anything left to say before we head off into the sunset?
Don't forget to tip your waiters and waitresses.
Well, we gotta run down the social media.
Well, man, this is hard because I'm not face to face with you. That's not a bad thing. Anyway, yeah, Facebook.com /Decent Christian Talk. We got a page on there. We also have a group page on there, Decent Christian Talk Podcast. We also have a website, decentchristiantalk.com, that we post everything on. We're on YouTube, we're on Apple Podcast and Spotify. You can subscribe to us and listen to us on there. We're also on Instagram, DC Talk Podcast. We're on Twitter, DC Talk Act 2. And of course, we are on patreon.com /Decent Christian Talk. We're going to be doing our bonus show after this. I'm excited again to talk about the How to Start a Fire album from Further Seems Forever. And yeah, now you can go ahead and do your line. Well, I was thinking, it's very hard to get out and about in restaurants nowadays, but you can still order takeout from your local restaurants. And don't forget to tip your waiters and waitresses then, because that is still how they make a living, even if they are just handing you the food. They're preparing it, so don't forget to tip your waiters and waitresses. Thanks.
Stay safe, guys. See ya.
Don't forget to tip your waiters and waitresses. Thanks.